Hello boys and girls, a very good evening and welcome to this live score booster for your SBI Clerk's preliminary exam brought to you by TalentSprint. I hope all of you are in good health and so is your preparation, and I'm sure with this score booster that we have for you, your preparation will only get enhanced and you will be able to walk into the examination center with a lot more confidence, right? Now in the score booster today, we have something from reasoning to be discussed, right? We have been doing enough on quantitative aptitude, so we thought we should take up something on reasoning. And what I have for you all today is a very commonly asked question type these days in bank exams, right? And this is a floor based puzzle, right? Now you know that circular arrangements, linear arrangements, puzzles, right, especially floor based puzzles have become very common and carry a high weightage in these exams, right? I mean, out of 35 questions that we get in reasoning, around 15 to 20 are from these topics alone, right? So it's very important that you practice as much as you can on these areas so that you can boost your score in the exam. Okay, so with that as an objective, we have some floor based puzzles here to be discussed. Let's see how many of these can be covered in the next few minutes that we have. But before I share the first question with you all, let me explain you two important points. Point number one, there is no method to get the answer. I repeat, there is no method to get the answer for floor based puzzles or circular arrangements or linear arrangements. When I say there is no method, I mean there is no direct method or a step-by-step procedure that can be followed, right? There is no formula as such. Obviously, reasoning is one subject where usually we do not have any formula. It's not like quantitative aptitude where a formula can give you the result. Here it's not formula based, but then even otherwise there is no process that can be applied. Like syllogism has an approach. I mean, there's a method which can be applied, right? Blood relations, there's a method that can be applied. But then when it comes to puzzles, any type of puzzle, it can be a circular arrangement or linear arrangement or a floor-based puzzle, there is no step-by-step process because every question is different, right? So there's no concrete method as such. Point number one. Point number two. Now this may take some of you by surprise or rather shock, but then it's very, very important to understand that the best way to solve puzzles, any type of puzzle or arrangement, is to skip the question. I repeat, the best way to solve these questions is not to solve, just skip and move to the next one. Now this may sound a little shocking now because I have mentioned only a few seconds ago that it carries a high weightage, right? I mean, about 15 to 20 questions are asked from these topics alone. But then I'm also suggesting, in fact, I'm strongly recommending that the easiest way to solve these questions is actually not to solve. Just skip and let it go, right? Now, why do I make this point? Because of point number one. There's no method to get the answer. Now, you never know how much time it will take for you to solve a particular puzzle. You will be able to get the answer. I'm not saying you will not be able to get the answer. You will be able to get the answer. But in such a time-bound exam like an SBI Clerk prelims, where sectional cutoff has also been implemented. Remember, this time you're going to have only 20 minutes for your reasoning section. Just 20 minutes for your reasoning section. And in these 20 minutes, if you try even one puzzle, you may end up about you may end up spending about 10 minutes of your time only in getting that one answer. And again, it's not guaranteed if you'll be able to get the answer or not. You're able to follow. So, understand it. I'm not for a second suggesting that you should not practice on these questions. You should definitely practice on such questions. But when it comes to application, you better skip such questions, solve the other ones first, and then if time permits, come back. Right? So if you look at the strategy that you have to follow for reasoning section in SBI Clerk prelims, you have 20 minutes. In the first 10, 12, 13 minutes, try to solve all the other topics. Syllogisms, machine input output, coding and decoding, and all the other topics there, blood relations, alphabet, directions, and things that you can think of. After you're done with those independent questions, because remember, those questions have a method, you can apply and get the answer. There's a high chance that you'll get the answer there. After you're done with those questions, then in that limited time, try out one or two of the puzzles asked. Right? You should not be doing this directly in the exam. Apply this strategy in your mock test that you take, and then I'm sure you will find that this actually works. Okay, so 2 points. Number one, there is no method, no concrete method to get the answer. Every puzzle is different. Number two, the best way to solve is to skip and go to the next one. Now with these 2 points in mind, let me present the first question to you all. Here you're not going to skip it. Don't say that I have skipped it, because you have to practice. You never know tomorrow if all the 35 questions are from puzzles, then you'll definitely have to solve some questions there, right? So skipping the questions is not the solution that will work, in every case there. So let me present the first question to you all, the first floor based puzzle. If time permits, we'll take up one more, but let us first see the question that I have for you here. So it's about 8 persons, basically 8 persons. P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W are the 8 persons. They live in a 8-floor building, 1 person per floor, and then they are from different professions like doctor, engineer, IAS, IPS. I'll share the screen, don't worry, right? I'm just giving you the context first. IAS, IPS, colonel and scientist, professor and teacher. And then they are from 8 different cities, or they're going to visit 8 different cities of India, which include Shimla, Manali, Dharmshala, Gangtok, Srinagar, Mumbai, Dehradun and Mussoorie. So 8 persons, 8 different floors, 8 different professions and 8 different cities, 4 variables. Of course, one variable is fixed. 1 to 8 are the floor numbers. So 1 to 8 are floor numbers, but on each of these floors, you have to find out the name of the person who stays there, the city that he's going to visit, and the profession that he belongs to. Now, I'll present the question to you all with all the clues given to us. Leave you with this for about 5 to 7 minutes and then take up the solution. Here we go. So read this out. Read the question out. 8 persons, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W are living in an 8-floor building. Only 1 person stays on 1 floor. All the 8 persons are government servants, right? They are doctor, engineer, IAS, IPS, colonel, scientist, professor and teacher. They are going to visit 8 different cities of India, among Shimla, Manali, Dharmshala, Gangtok, Srinagar, Mumbai, Dehradun and Mussoorie, but not necessarily in the same order. Lowermost floor is number 1 and so on. And in the next paragraph, as you all know, some clues are given to us. Like for example, V does not live on the 8th floor. The person who's an engineer lives on the 5th floor and so on. So you have 5 or maximum 7 minutes. The clock has started now. I think there's only one funny error I think I can think of here. It should be government servants, not government servants. Now, how much time to take to solve is one common question that is asked when such questions are presented, right? I mean, I can see Vinu Rathod asking me the same question. The answer, Vinu, is I don't know. It depends on the puzzle. I cannot say that you should solve it in 3 minutes. You may not be able to. I cannot say that you should solve in like 7 minutes. You may not be able to. It all depends. So just try and give your best shot. The clock is ticking, guys. Waiting for the first response here. I can see somebody mentioning that the screen is not clear. I think this is the best font that I could get for you. It cannot be made bigger than this. You should just check the connectivity at your end, right? I mean, depending on your connection, you will get the quality. So why don't you just try and adjust the picture quality at your end. Some of you are already confused, right? I can see somebody mentioning that he's confused. Others are like, how to solve. Try it out. We will definitely discuss this. Just try it out. Krishna Kumar says he thinks there's some error. Sushmita is confused. Vinod Kumar says it's tricky. Partha Ghosh says it's taking too much time to solve. And waiting for more responses. Let's see. Done. Okay, Ruchika Singh has mentioned that she's done it. Mahantesh Patil says the professor lives between R and T. In this line, there's some error. Let's just see when we try it out. Preeti says, can anyone tell me a trick to solve these questions? Preeti, if you had joined the session on top at the beginning, you would have heard me saying that there's no trick to solve these questions. Okay, so some of you have got it, others think there's some error. I think Pooja Khatri, Kirti Kiran, Sahil, Shalaka have done this. Rajshekhar has also done it. So let's take it up now. I think enough time has been given. Let's solve it. Now before I actually start solving it with all of you together here, I repeat the 2 points that I had made in the beginning. Point number 1, there is no method to solve questions on puzzles. I don't mean to say that one cannot solve these questions, but there is no direct process or a setting which can give you the answer. You may not be able to get the answer even after spending 1 hour in some cases. I mean, honestly, I have some puzzles in my kitty which I have not been able to solve for like months together now. I mean, not that I'm solving it day in, day out, 24/7, but yeah, I've tried it multiple times. It takes too much of time and then I get occupied with something else. So honestly, there's no guarantee about the time it would take to arrive at the answer. And point number 2, the best way to solve this question in the exam would be to just skip and go to the next one. Let me present the solution to you all for this puzzle that we have just looked at. So here we go. Now, here's the question. I think I've got some space for myself to try it out. Let's take this. So 8 persons, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W are living in an 8-floor building. Only one person stays on one floor. All the 8 persons are government servants. They are doctor, engineer, IAS, IPS, colonel, scientist, professor and teacher. They are going to visit 8 different cities of India among Shimla, Manali, Dharmshala, Gangtok, Srinagar, Mumbai, Dehradun and Mussoorie, but not necessarily in the same order. The lowermost floor here is number 1 and so on. So basically the data here talks about 8 persons, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V and W, right, who are living on a 8-floor building. Then they are all government servants, right, and their professions are doctor, engineer, IAS, IPS, colonel, scientist, professor and teacher. And they are going to visit 8 different cities among, Shimla, Manali, Dharmshala, Gangtok, Srinagar, Mumbai, Dehradun and Mussoorie. Of course, not necessarily in the same order. The lowermost floor is number 1 and so on. So basically, if you see, floor numbers are fixed. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The floor numbers are fixed. What we have to decide is the name of the person, the profession and the city that the person is going to visit. Now, there can be multiple cases possible. Remember, when you start solving the puzzle, any type of puzzle, initially you may have 2, 3 possibilities, 2, 4, 6, 8 possibilities, depending on how complex it is. But then as you go closer to the solution, you will find that one or the other possibility keeps getting ruled out because it violates some condition, right? These are all conditions given to us. In the next paragraph, all these are different conditions or clues basically that V does not live on 8th floor. So in any puzzle, if you find V living on 8th floor, that can be ruled out. Okay. Now, what we'll do is quickly start filling the gaps. See, understand the important point here is you should be first able to fill all the direct points given to you, right, from this data. And once you are done with the direct points, we will read the data again for the second time and try to find out what are the hidden or indirectly given statements to us, right? There are some direct clues and indirect clues. So we'll first fill up the direct clues. Now, statement 1, V does not live on 8th floor. Doesn't really help me. V does not live on 8th floor. Fine, V will not come here. I know that V does not come on the 8th floor. But then, which floor does V belong to? No idea. Now, you cannot be taking up 7 possibilities. That's not the best way to start. So move on, right? Look at the next statement. The person who is an engineer lives on 5th floor. So some concrete data here. Engineer is on 5th floor. So that is fixed. 5th floor, the profession has to be engineer. Anything else that we know? No. Next point. The one who is an engineer is not going to visit Mumbai. So the one who is an engineer is not going to visit Mumbai. Who is an engineer? I don't know who is the engineer, but definitely engineer is on 5th floor. So the 5th floor person is not going to visit Mumbai. So the point again, learn from what you see here. What are we doing? We are trying to fill the directly given clues. At the same time, I'm making a note of what cannot come in which place. Like V cannot come on 8th floor. Mumbai cannot come on 5th floor. So that when you are actually filling up towards the end, it becomes easy for you to eliminate the wrong choices. Yeah. So the one who is an engineer is not going to visit Mumbai. So engineer will not be in Mumbai. The one who is going to visit Dharmshala lives on an even number floor, but he is not an IPS. So Dharmshala, the guy who is going to Dharmshala lives on an even number floor, and he is not an IPS. Now, what are the even number floors here? 2, 4, 6, 8. Which means there are 4 possibilities for Dharmshala. Dharmshala can come on 2nd floor or 4th floor or 6th floor or 8th floor. Now, do you want me to take all the 4 cases? No, makes no sense. Right? So don't try to take all the 4 possibilities. Just make a note of it. So pictorially, I will say Dharmshala can come on 2 or 4 or 6 or 8. We don't know which floor exactly. After 2 or 3 choices are ruled out, we'll fix it. Okay. So let's just move on. T is an engineer and Q is a teacher. Fine. T is an engineer, Q is a teacher. But how does it help me? Okay. T is an engineer. T is an engineer. See, engineer is already placed. So I can say T is an engineer. So 5th floor, the person is T, profession is engineer, city is not known to us. Q is a teacher. So wherever teacher comes, we'll put Q there. Yeah. If you don't want to read this statement again, you can just make a note of this as well. That Q is a teacher. So what you're doing is, from the paragraph in your reading statements, you're making representations here that Q is a teacher, Dharamsala will be for 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on. So this is done. Next point, S and the one who is going to visit Manali live on an even numbered floor. Read it carefully. S and the one who is going to visit Manali live on an even numbered floor. So S lives on an even numbered floor, which means S also has got 4 choices, 2, 4, 6, 8. And the one who is going to visit Manali also lives on an even numbered floor. So 2, 4, 6, 8. You're getting it? S and the one who's going to visit Manali live on an even numbered floor. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. None of these have been blocked so far. So you can't really do anything about it. Okay. Next. U is the IPS and lives on 6th floor. U is the IPS and lives on 6th floor. So very concrete data, direct clue. U is an IPS and lives on 6th floor. So 6th floor, the person is U. He is an IPS. So you see, done. U is an IPS, lives on 6th floor. T is an engineer, lives on 6th floor. Now, because it is U on 6th floor, can S come on 6th floor? S cannot come on 6th floor. You're able to follow. See, this is what you need to do now. This is what is important when you're solving a puzzle. What is directly given you are filled, but with respect to that, if there are other things that can be cancelled out, you should do that immediately. U lives on 6th floor, so S cannot come on 6th floor. See, Dharamsala can still come on 6th floor because city has not been blocked yet. Manali can also come on 6th floor because city has not been blocked yet. But U has been blocked for 6th floor, so S cannot come on 6th floor. Next point, the one who is the IAS is going to visit Gangtok and lives on 3rd floor. Now this also is concrete information, right? IAS is visiting Gangtok and lives on 3rd floor. So 3rd floor, the guy is IAS, profession is IAS, and he's visiting Gangtok. I know the city also. So the first city that we have got to know is Gangtok. Gangtok is for 3rd floor. Of course, this time we don't know the name of the person. Whoever it is, the person is IAS, goes to Gangtok and lives on 3rd floor. The scientist lives on lowermost floor. Scientist is on lowermost floor. Lowermost floor is 1st floor. So scientist comes here. Right? So one more is done. Next, the one who is going to visit Mussoorie lives on the topmost floor. Mussoorie is on the topmost floor. Mussoorie is here, topmost floor. Understand, the moment you block Mussoorie for topmost floor, it is clear that 8th floor city is Mussoorie. So can Dharamsala be on 8th floor? No. Can Manali be on 8th floor? No. Because 8th floor is blocked with respect to cities. Dharamsala is either 2, 4, 6. Manali is also 2, 4, 6. It cannot be 8. 8 is for Mussoorie. Next point, the professor lives between R and T. The professor lives between R and T. Now look at this, important and interesting clue here. Professor lives between R and T. Lives between R and T. See, T is already fixed. T is already fixed here. The professor has to live between R and T. So basically, if you see, if T is here, R can come either on 7th floor or it can come on 3rd floor. You understand? The professor lives between R and T. So it's like this. I mean, pictorially it will be like this. T, the professor here, and R. Or T, we don't know who the person is, professor, and then R. So if you see, the professor is living between R and T. This guy is the professor, right? He is living between R and T. So two choices, either T professor R or R professor T. Yes or no? Now if you observe closely, 5th floor is T. The professor should come either on 6th floor or 4th floor. The professor should either come on 6th floor, or he should come on 4th floor. But 6th floor is already blocked for IPS. So can he block the 4th floor for professor? Yes, we can block the 4th floor for professor. Yes or no? Professor should be a neighbor as in the vertical neighbor of T. Vertically basically. So if this cannot be professor, this has to be professor because this floor is blocked by IPS. Now if T is here and professor is here, then R has to come here. No other choice. So you see, the professor lives between R and T, right? Between R and T. Professor is between R and T, right? So this point is done. Yeah. Next, V is a colonel and W is a doctor. V is a colonel and W is a doctor. So this again is to be noted, right? V is colonel and W is a doctor. We don't have their names anywhere marked, otherwise we can fix the professions as well. Next point, the teacher is going to visit Srinagar. Teacher is going to visit Srinagar. Who is the teacher? Whoever is the teacher is going to visit Srinagar, right? Now understand, in terms of professions, already 5 seats have been blocked, right? 5 seats have been blocked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now teacher and Srinagar are together. Also keep in mind teacher and Srinagar are together. So teacher can come on second floor with Srinagar coming on second floor, or teacher can come on 7th floor with Srinagar coming on 7th floor. Remember, teacher cannot come on 8th floor. Teacher cannot come on 8th floor, because if teacher comes here, Srinagar should be for 8th floor. You getting it? If teacher comes here, then Srinagar should be for 8th floor. But 8th floor is blocked for Mussoorie. So teacher will either come on 2nd floor or 7th floor. You're able to follow? Teacher will either come on 2nd floor or 7th floor. Accordingly, Srinagar will come on 2nd floor or 7th floor. Now, doesn't mean that you have to take both the cases and check out which one is true. We will read one more round. I mean, we'll do the second reading, and maybe we'll be able to directly find out what the answer is. Okay. Anyway, next point is the one who is going to visit Dehradun lives on 7th floor. See, Dehradun is on 7th floor. Whoever is going to visit Dehradun on 7th floor. 7th floor is Dehradun. Now, if you read the previous statement, the teacher is going to visit Srinagar. Teacher and Srinagar should be together. So, which means the profession and the city column should be free for that floor. Now, if I go from floor number 1, profession is fixed, so teacher cannot come here. 2nd floor, teacher can come here. Srinagar can come here, possible. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, the professions are blocked already. 7th and 8th, while the profession is not blocked, city is blocked. Dehradun and Mussoorie. So Srinagar cannot come here. So the only possibility for teacher and Srinagar together is 2nd floor. Teacher is on 2nd floor, and since teacher goes to Srinagar, Srinagar is on 2nd floor. Right? Teacher goes to Srinagar. Done. So what has happened so far? We have done one round of reading. We have been able to fill this much, right? Still there are some gaps. We don't know who comes on 8th floor and 7th floor with their professions. We do not know the cities of 6th, 5th and 4th floors. We do not know who comes on 1st, 2nd and 4th floor, right? But then other clues given to us will help us fix these things. Now, before I read the second time, I mean, I think I have already read everything properly and make a pictorial representation. Like I've already made a note of this point, and this has been fixed also. So I'll put a tick mark. Now look at these clues. Q is a teacher. Q is a teacher. Teacher is fixed, right? So can I say this is Q? Because Q is a teacher. This point has been used. And V and W will be colonel and doctor, but they have not been blocked yet. So we'll come to that later. In fact, I think I can actually block it. See, if you observe, V should be a colonel. Can V come on 8th floor? V cannot come on 8th floor. Remember this? V cannot come on 8th floor. So V cannot come on 8th floor. Can V come on 7th floor? Possible. V will come on 7th floor, and this person can be colonel. Can V come on 4th floor? No, because 4th floor person is professor. We know that V is a colonel. Similarly, can V come on 1st floor? No, because 1st floor person is a scientist. V is a colonel. So the only possibility for V is 7th floor, and this will become colonel. Done. Similarly, W and doctor. The person and profession both should be freely available. So W and doctor, where can it come? Can it come on 1st floor? W? No, because this is scientist. Can W come on 4th floor? No, because this is professor. The only choice is W has to come on 8th floor. Then this will become a doctor. Points have been used. Now go to the rest of the things. S, where will S come? S should either come on 2nd floor or 4th floor or 8th floor. 2, 4 or 8. Now 8 is already blocked for W. So S cannot come on 8th. 2 is already blocked for Q. So S cannot come on 2. So the only choice for S is 4th floor. So S comes here. Done. This point is also used. I think the only person left out now is P. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W are done. So P comes on 1st floor. Now look at Dharamsala. 2nd floor, 4th floor or 6th floor? 2nd floor is blocked for Srinagar. Similarly, 2nd floor is blocked for Srinagar. So Manali also cannot come on 2nd floor. 4th floor is open. And 6th floor both are open. So what do we do now? Here's the confusion, right? Dharamshala should come on 4th floor or 6th floor. 4th and 6th both are open. Similarly, Manali should come on 4th floor or 6th floor. Both are still open. So let's see if there is anything that we have missed out. V does not live on 8th floor. Consider the person who is an engineer lives on 5th floor. Is not going to visit Mumbai. The one who is going to Dharamsala lives on even number floor, but he is not IPS. Look at this point. The one who is going to visit Dharamsala is on even number floor, but he is not an IPS. Dharamsala guy is not an IPS. So can Dharamsala come on 6th floor? No, because 6th floor person is IPS. So Dharamsala cannot come on 6th floor. You understand? Whoever is going to Dharamsala is not an IPS. So Dharamsala cannot come on 6th floor. So the only choice is Dharamsala comes on 4th floor. So fix it. This is Dharamsala. Done. If Dharamsala comes on 4th floor, Manali cannot come on 4th floor. Manali then comes on 6th floor. So Manali comes on 6th floor. Now we already know that Mumbai cannot come on 5th floor. So only choice for Mumbai is 1st floor. And then there's only one city left out. Which is that city? Shimla, Manali, Dharamsala. Shimla is there. Shimla. I think Shimla is left out, which can be blocked for 5th floor. Look at this. Done. So we know all the 8 persons. PQR, ST, UVW is the order from first floor to 8th floor. Professions: scientist, teacher, IAS, professor, engineer, IPS, colonel, doctor. Cities are Mumbai, Srinagar, Gangtok, Dharamshala, Shimla, Manali, Dehradun, Mussoorie. Got it. Now we have got it, but does it mean that we'll be able to get it in the exam as well? No guarantee. See, understand, exam is a completely different setting altogether. You are working under pressure. There are people around you, right? That ambience itself will make it a little difficult for you to think openly, right? I mean, you're not really relaxed. You have the time pressure. 20 minutes are like running out. So you will not be able to perform this coolly during the exam. I mean, this 100% of this impact cannot be carried in the exam. There will be some distortion definitely there. Okay, and again, like I said, every question is different. Just because we have been able to solve this doesn't mean that we should be attempting such questions in the exam. So I opened my session with 2 points. I would like to close the session again with the same 2 points. I wish I could take one more or a couple of more examples, but time is over and I'll not be able to take up anything else. But then the 2 points that I would like to repeat: there is no method. The only way is to just read out the statements, fill the gaps, and then try out all the possibilities. I mean, a puzzle can be solved not with the given clues. It cannot be solved completely with the given clues. It has to be solved with what is not given there. The indirect points have to be pulled out, right? And it can be made very complex. It all depends, right? So I am very clear that there is no method. I mean, it is not as simple as what we have done always. Okay, of course, this also was a little confusing. Many of you said that this is confusing, time consuming and all that. It is actually, right? You never know. So still I'll stick to point number 1. I don't have a method, honestly. It is just about trial and error. You try it out. If you get an error, try again with the other possibility and see what the correct answer is. And because of this, point number 1, the point number 2 is very important. Do not attempt such questions in the exam. Please do not attempt such questions in the exam, right? Because you have only 20 minutes for reasoning section. There are many other topics where we have a proper method that can be applied. Okay, so we are better off solving those questions first. Remember, when I say do not attempt such questions in the exam, I am not saying that you should not solve it at all. You should skip it for that moment. Mark it for review. Mark it for review. After solving the other questions, if time is available, come back and try it out. I was reading one of the comments where somebody had mentioned that what is the guarantee that we'll be able to solve the other questions? There is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that we'll be able to solve other questions. But there is a guarantee that other questions or other topics have a method which can be applied. I mean, syllogism is not like this, right? Syllogism, you can solve every question. Quotient inequalities, you can definitely solve every question. Machine input output, if you've got the logic, you'll be able to solve those questions. Blood relations, there are methods through which you can solve every question. Direction, definitely you can solve, right? Alphabet, definitely you can solve. Coding and decoding, again, coding and decoding is logic based. You never know. You may or may not be able to, decipher the logic in that exam. But then other topics have got a proper methodology, right? Ranking and ordering, you can definitely solve every question from ranking and ordering. It cannot be like vague, right? Like what we have in arrangements or puzzles. So with that as the factor, keeping that into consideration, I always say this is not the best of the choices, right? Remember, for you to boost your score in reasoning, you should not be knowing more and more shortcuts. You should be knowing what is called choosing your questions wisely. You should know how to pick up the questions. You should be picking up the right set of questions and solving them as soon as possible, right? So I would close the session with the same thought. The best way to solve puzzles is to skip. Skip is the best shortcut that works for such type of questions. Think about it. Try out a few more questions, and I'm sure you will know it yourself, right? And try and apply your own strategy in the exam. Now you're only taking mock exams, right? So try to solve puzzles in one exam, see what happened. In the next exam, don't solve puzzles, solve the other questions and see if it is boosting your score in reasoning section. And you should devise your own strategy. I mean, I cannot make it a rule. It is up to you to follow or not to follow. Okay, but yes, the suggestion is that the best way to solve floor-based puzzles, or any puzzle for that matter, is not to solve. Just skip and go to the next section. I'll see you all in the next score booster tomorrow at 4 p.m. Until then, keep practicing and take very